2021, organized by Banwarilal Bhalotia College. And this is the second international conference in a row. The first one was the last year, and it was a huge success for us. And this is why for this year we have gathered up to start another conference in that same row, eConsus 2021. So this is the second technical session. It's a parallel session with the other link, and here some of our valued presenter will present and will hear. And let me start the recording. Okay. Start presenting. Okay. Thank you, Kajal, for starting the session for recording. Dear participants, the first participant, Himadri Nag, he just informed us that he's in a meeting. He will join maybe later. So the second, Moushumi Kundu, are you here? Dr. Moushumi Kundu, have you joined us? I think Moushumi Kundu has not joined yet. No. Right now, no? So maybe she will join just afterwards. So we'll go to the third participant, Munish Kumar Thakur. So, Munish Kumar Thakur, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, can you just...
Yes, can I start?
Yeah, sure. So, Munish Kumar...
Munish Kumar Thakur from Shubha.
Excellent. 1 second. It's a 34. So, one second.
Sure.
Yeah. So, welcome, Munish Kumar Thakur, and he is a PhD research scholar from Department of English, Himachal Pradesh University, Shimla, and he will talk with us about a very interesting topic, sustainable development of gender in India as depicted by regional women writers. Please.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much. So, very good afternoon to everyone and all present over here. So, first of all, I would like to thank the organizers for giving us this opportunity to present our papers over here. Without wasting much time, I will just come to my topic. So, the topic is the title of my paper is a sustainable development of gender in India as depicted by regional women writers. So here I am talking about the regional women who are residing in rural parts of India, and their problems, their issues and all, they are being confined to that particular region only. So that is what that is why role of translation is very important, which I also take up in this paper. So I'll also talk about the importance of translation. What is that there when it comes to take the women issues at a global level. So that is what I'm going to talk about in this particular paper. So first of all, I would like to start off with a bit of feminism over here, because as we are talking about women, then feminism becomes very important. So feminism, as everyone knows, is a belief full of social and economic political equality for women. So earlier, women are being subjugated at various level by the patriarchal system you talk about. And then there are a lot of social movements which took place. The purpose of those social movements was to give equal rights to women, who are the half of the population of any nation, if you say. So that is what the purpose of this feminism and all. Then many women as well as men all take part in this feministic movements to take this initiative to give the importance, equal importance to the women as well. So as the paper is mainly focused about India, so I would like to talk about a little bit about Indian feminism as well. So if you talk about Indian feminism, that it is basically divided into three phases. In the first phase, which began in the mid 19th century, which was particularly for the education and customs involving women. That was the main focus of that particular phase, first phase of feminism in India. Then when it come to the second phase, it started around 1915 to the Indian independence, where Gandhiji also played some important role to take out the problems women were facing at that time. So he also took part in that. Then if we talk about the third phase, this is about the post-independence phase, where most of the things who are talking about that women who are facing problems after marriages and all, they are not being happy in their marriage, and they are being ill-treated by their in-laws or by the husband. So these are the things who are there in the third phase, which feminism take at the global level. So then, as I was talking about that, the paper is focuses on regional women who are residing in the rural parts of India. So, and their problems are being best depicted by the women writers of that particular language. So that's why the role of a translation is very, very important. So those regional writers have depicted the problems of women in their particular language. For example, if there is a Assami writer, so she must have picked the problems faced by the Assami women who are residing in the interior parts of that region. So that is where role of translation is very, very important to bring those issues at the global level. Otherwise, those issues must have remain confined to that particular region. So that's why the role of good translation is very, very important. By the way of good translation only, these issues which are there in the regional parts or the interior parts of any part of India may come at the global level. So that is why the role of translation is very, very important in this aspect as well. So now just coming on to the theme of the paper, what the paper is all about. The purpose of the paper is to highlight the sustainable development in the conditions of women living in the interior part of India, as depicted by regional women writers. So as I told that women are the best judge of any women's problem. So she's the only one who can understand it in a better way. So that's why I thought of taking only the women writers who are talking about conditions of women in the interior parts of India. So in this paper for the current research, I'm taking up four novels actually. And the first one is The Taming of Women by P. Shivakami. She's a Tamil writer. So this The Taming of Women has been written in around 2012, and it has been later translated into as The Taming of Women, in which the male character, who's a tyrannical, patriarchal character, who's trying to take control of each and every woman whom he met in his life. So that is what over there depicted by P. Shivakami in her The Taming of Women. Then the next novel, The Filani, I have taken up for this purpose. So in which there's a depiction of she's a Assami writer, and she has talk about ethnic rights, in which women has to face so many issues because of the ethnic problems. The women are the ones who has to face the most, because they will lose their husband, they will lose their children. Likewise, they are the most at the target at that during such situations. So that's why it is very, very important to take those things inside. Then third one which I've taken up is Pence by Ilari Mehta. So she's a Gujarati writer, and she has written over here talk about the women problems, that they are being divided for education. And the protagonist of this particular novel is has to face many struggles in her life in order to get good education, and ultimately by struggling all those, by taking over all those hurdles, she just come up with a good education, and ultimately she fulfilled her dream of having a independent house of her own. Then lastly, the fourth novel which I've taken up for this purpose is Hang Women by Kiar Mira. She's a Malayalam writer, and in this novel, she's talking about Chetna. Chetna is the protagonist, main heroine of this particular novel, and she has she has been given the task of give this hang women to being a hang women, the first hang women in the Indian histories, and by her talent and all, by her strength and all, she has proved herself to be able to took up this job, which is traditionally meant only for men. So this is the way the women are being, I mean, women are making their way, coming out of those struggles and all, and they are making their way, making their presence globally, and they are changing the situations which were there earlier. So, if we come to the conclusion that women all around the world have to face discrimination at the hand of men under in this patriarchal system, and many feminist and social organizations fought together for equal rights, to give the equal rights for the to the women, and to empower them in every aspect. We talk about, then earlier women were devoid of many basic things, and especially we talk about the rural parts of India, and the women are being ill-treated over there. But slowly the situations are being changing, and women are being recognized at the global level because of their strength and their capabilities. So thank you so much. Thank you for giving this opportunity to present my paper over here. Thank you, organizers. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Monish. So it was a wonderful presentation, and it feels very uplifting that these issues are being discussed, and we are raising question, we are discussing these topics about women empowerment, and so beautifully taken, and in this international conference platform. Thank you so much for that. And the participants, you can just unmute your mic and directly interact with the speaker if you have any question. So, if there isn't any, I have one question. So, is there, do you think that as a progressing nation, so how much it will take for us to achieve truly gender neutralized country, so that we can see the gender equity and gender equality in a true sense? How
Uh,
much time, you said that we are progressing, yes, this is true in many means, so I'm just asking that how much time it will take, you think, so
Sure,
reach.
sure, 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 ma'am. So it's a very good questions. First of all, thank you, sir. Thank you for asking. At least it shows that someone was at least paying the attention to everybody. So if you talk about true in a true sense, then it will take a lot of effort from each and every individual who is residing in our nation. It's not just about the women. It's not just about the men. Each and every one, each and every individual, each and every sincere citizen, we have to think this in a sensitive way, and then only it can be there can be a day where it will be there in a true manner, which you are asking, I think. So this will be the way, I think.
Thank you so much. And the next speaker is Shujoy Shai, and he will be introduced by Dr. Shongi Chatterjee from History Department.
So our next speaker is Dr. Sujoy Shai, and he's
Uh,
entitled Achieving Sustainable Development Goal in Higher Education Through Online Mode of Learning, a sociological insight from rural Bengal. And Dr. Sujoy Shai is an assistant professor in sociology and head of the department, Chapna Chandidash Mahavidyalaya. So may we request Professor Shai to go ahead with his presentation.
thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to present paper. Actually, I had also one paper in this regard in one international conference also. But today I'm going to discuss achieving sustainable development goal in higher education in this pandemic situation through online mode of learning, a sociological insight from rural Bengal. Uh, uh, Thank you, the organizing committee and BB College, all other participants. Now I'm going to discuss about this paper. It is the global agenda today that all sections of our society will be included into higher education, regardless of their socioeconomic background. This is one of the agenda of Sustainable Development Goal 2030. But it is observed from various sources that few socioeconomically disadvantaged students are still struggling for achieving higher education because of online system of learning. In this paper, I have tried to analyze various facets of obstacles of socioeconomically disadvantaged students of rural Bengal to achieve higher education by using both qualitative and quantitative methods. Primary data have been collected from field and analyzed. Secondary data have also been used in this research. After analyzing all types of data, researchers have come to conclusion that inclusion of socioeconomically disadvantaged section into higher education has been partially done, and the process is continuing for last couple of years successfully. But challenges remain for achieving higher education for socioeconomically disadvantaged students because high dropout rates among these students of socioeconomically disadvantaged students section. The main obstacles for achieving higher education for this socioeconomically disadvantaged student is their economic crisis and social prejudice, but technological problem is also persist and fear for online system of learning acts like catalyst. Researchers also has identified several other factors responsible for this problem of achieving higher education in this pandemic situation. To overcome the problem,
Pardon, sir. Sorry, do you have any slides or you have any presentation for it? Just, I'm very sorry to interfere.
no, I'm just going through my paper.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Please carry on.
Okay, thank you. To overcome the problem, researchers suggest that attractive financial support is essential for students of socioeconomically disadvantaged section so that they can buy equipments necessary for their higher education and continue online mode of learning. Bartland Commission published their report under the heading of Our Common Future, where they tried to link issues of economic development and environmental sustainability. It provides the definition of sustainable development as development meets the need of the present without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own needs. Report talks about scope and limits of sustainability, which also includes the importance of intergenerational equity and way of conserving resources for future generation for meeting their own needs. It clearly says that the main goal of sustainable development is to achieve long-term stability of economic and environment, which may be achievable by true integration between economy, environment, and social concern. The objective of my paper, identifying the problem of achieving higher education for students who are coming from socially as well as economically backward section of society in this pandemic situation, to identify gap between various initiatives taken by government and problem of implementation, to find out the reasons behind high dropout rates among students of marginalized section of society after getting admission to higher education. Research question. The central research question I have identified here is the problem of unequal access to higher education for students of socioeconomically disadvantaged group. To find out the answer of the central question, I have set different one interrelated questions also. Is economic barrier the main obstacles to achieve higher education for students belonging to backward section of society or technological backwardness in this online mode of teaching learning? What are the reasons behind their withdrawal from higher education? Answer to this question may lead us to identify the problem of inequality in accessing and achieving higher education for socioeconomically disadvantaged students in rural Bengal. In this research, mixed research methods has been applied to study the subject of research and to find out the genealogical root of the problem. For collecting primary data from the field, both qualitative and quantitative method have been applied because of complexity of the problem. General survey method was also applied to collect quantitative data from the respondents. In-depth interviews were also carried out for selected samples only to find out the root cause of the problem. Impacts of e-learning is not uniform on students. Class or social category is an important factor which can directly influence the overall e-learning process, because at least one smartphone is needed to participate in the teaching learning system. There are several other factors which are equally important in analyzing the impact of online classes on different segments of students. If we are going to analyze the matter from a subaltern perspective, then we can understand the real situation of those students who have come from rural poor families. From their point of view, the primary agenda of life is mere sustenance. They are facing the real problem of bread and butter. Therefore, education becomes the secondary subject. In rural colleges, all students have not come from economically sound families, and most of the students come either from scheduled tribe families or from families of backward caste and backward class. Therefore, education with smartphone is a luxury for them because they could not afford to purchase necessary books for their study. A portion of students get enrolled into degree courses to avail various scholarships provided by the central and state government. And on the basis of such scholarships, some of them try to complete their degree course, and some of them leave their course after getting the scholarship. Therefore, dropout rate is very high in rural colleges. Only a few bright students from those rural and economically backward families try to complete their course with massive struggle. Many of them earn money by doing some part-time jobs to help their families and to fulfill their own expenses, including educational expenses. But in this pandemic situation, they could not find any way out to earn money, and they become frustrated and depressed. Therefore, it is quite difficult to analyze the impact of online system of teaching learning on rural Bengal from a single point of view. In my study, we have seen both negative and positive effect of online classes. It is really a great initiative by all colleges to impart education through online mode, but on the same time, it is true that all students are not able to get the benefit of online classes due to internet problem, psychological disturbance, economic problem of modern devices, engagement of some rural students in some activity or economic support of the family. However, most of the students have said that online classes are effective. It is observed from our study that most of the respondents have preferred conventional mode of teacher learning for their examination purpose because it is highly effective and useful for higher education, where critical uh, issues are difficult matters are solved during the process of teaching learning.
Dr. Shai, I'm sorry to interrupt, Dr. Shai. Your
Sir.
time is up. I'm sorry. You have only 1 minute. Could you please wrap up?
Okay, sir. Sir, now we have come to the conclusion that although online classes have several drawbacks, but we cannot ignore the usefulness of online teaching learning process in such a pandemic situation when other options are not available. But to make it more useful and attractive, government should take proper initiative to build a common and safe platform which is student friendly, where students of all class and category have the opportunity of simple and safe access. Proper training is also needed to build tech savvy faculty and tech savvy student also. Thank you.
Camera silence.
Thank you, Dr. Shai, for your thought-provoking presentation.
Thank you.
I would request our participants to come up with questions if you have any. Dear participants, please come up with questions. Okay, maybe we can move on now. And thank you again, Dr. Shai.
Thank you.
We can move on to our next speaker. And May I request Dr. Vinita Datta to carry forward, please?
Dr. Anindita Ghoshal. Have you joined, ma'am?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Can we just switch on your video?
Yeah, actually, I cannot switch on your video. Some problem is there
Okay. No
in my
problem.
laptop.
Okay,
Yeah.
then do you want to go to the directly to the presentation? So you can just
Yes.
yeah, you can just start your presentation. So may I request Dr. Anindita Ghoshal. She is an assistant professor of Department of Statistics of Sister Nivedita University, and she will enlighten us about the topic reward structure based occupational mobility. Ma'am,
Yeah.
we are eager to hear you. Ma'am, you can start your presentation.
Yes. Ma'am, is my slides are visible?
Yeah, your slides are completely visible. Please carry.
Okay. Okay. So today, first of all, I would like to thank all the organization committee members and organization committee to give us this opportunity to present our paper. Today, my topic is reward structure based occupational mobility. First, I want to tell something about the occupational mobility. Actually, occupational mobility is a term which we used to know about the mobilization of the occupation. That means the change of occupation. It may be of change from father to son, or individuals itself, or himself or herself can change his or her job in his or her individual lifespan. So today, my topic is reward structure based on occupational mobility. So I'm going to follow this introduction, model, simulation, example, case 1 and case 2, and reward structure model without discounting, conclusion. So this is the introduction part. Study of occupational mobility is an index of changes in society or an organization, is of great importance for proper planning of the human resource. Its another aspect is the study of reward structure. As we all know that uh, person changes their jobs primarily to earn better income or to enjoy better status. So individuals get rewards for their existing post, and promotion is needed to get better reward. Different organization having the different setup may use the same model to study the promotion pattern, and in our present work we attempt to develop a model regarding the promotion and the corresponding rewards gained by the promotion using semi markup model. Now, remunerate employees for their efficiency has been the keystone of the industrial and the business development for centuries, and financial reward has always been important in managing employees' accomplishment. But in very last few years, other elements of reimbursement have developed to dispense employees with more scope to reward and therefore stimulate employees. Now, an individual or a group of employees who have been for a particular time period have at a particular job category or post can get a reward. Now, we generally consider reward as a random variable because it is associated with time, and we all know that time is a random variable. So, reward, though it is associated with time, it is also considered as a random variable, and it is simply a lump sum money which an individual will get due to promotion, and it will allow us to compute the functional features of the system. Now, individual occupy a post at a particular time period and they will get reward. And when they change their post at some time, they will get a bonus which is a fixed sum. In some situation, the payment of reward stretches over a long time of period, and it will happen discount in the future income. Then the reward structure with discounting is considered. Now, these are some works that have already been done in these years. I'm not going to that. And our present work is actually to develop reward structure, means occupational mobility model based on reward structure. Here, semi-Markov continuous time reward model with discounting and without discounting are used to explain the entire process. Now, this is our model. Here we consider n categories of post of faculty members, and individual will enter in the ith post at time tau. Tau is the calendar time, and they will enter in post I and will be promoted to the post J according to the probability Pij. Now, they will stay in the post I before getting the promotion to the post J in a random time interval. And here the holding time density is Hij tau. Now, individual occupying the post I, having chosen the successor post J, will earn reward at the rate of Yij sigma at time sigma. Sigma is the calendar year, but sigma is not equal to tau. And Yij sigma is the amount of money. Yij sigma is the amount of money uh, paid continuously for occupancy of the post I and is called the yield rate. So, and when promotion occurs from post I to post J, actually at some time tau, they will earn bonus, a fixed sum, which is a lump sum payment at time of promotion, depend on the promotion and holding time of the post I preceding the promotion. Now, we often have situation where the payment of reward elongated over the long time, perhaps several years, it result in discounting in the future income. Now, in this present model, we are considering reward structure with discounting. Lack of time, I'm not going to discuss elaborately. So here we just assume that the unit sum of money at time t in the future has oath or present value be the expectation of e to the power of minus alpha sigma, where alpha is greater than equal to 0. Now, that is, we shall carry out continuous discounting at the rate of alpha. Now, it is noted that if individual enters post I at time 0, time 0 means in the initial time or initial stage of his job, and leave post I at time tau for entering the successor post J, then the value of the reward at initial time generated by the yield rate structure will be this. Okay, we will integrate from 0 to tau, from initial to this calendar year with the initial reward with the yield rate. Now, this exponential term is used to represent the discounted yield contribution to the reward, and it is considered for the calendar year 0 to tau. Now, when the first promotion out of the post occur, before or after the time length, I mean the length of service, actually what happened that when we are in the post I, and we have to go to the post J, then there is a sometime we have to wait for that particular post. Now, if it occurs after T, if the promotion actually occurs after T, then the individual will spend the entire interval of length T in the post I. In this case, they will get reward according to the yield rate structure for post I throughout the time T, and will get terminal reward Vi0. So Vi0 be the terminal reward paid in the ith post at time 0. The reward from the yield structure are discounted with the upper limit of the integral equal to T, and the terminal reward Vi0 has the present value, that is the from we get that e to the power of minus alpha T into Vi0. Now, the sums of this discounted reward multiplied by the probability will give us, I'm just going this. This is the value of the expected reward according to our model. Now, In this present situation, we assume that yield rate, holding time, bonus rate follows exponential or Weibull distribution, as time and money both follows in general exponential or Weibull distribution. Terminal reward is given for our model. Future reward term is ignored due to the continuous change of the government policies, and we consider the expected value of the reward at time t with discounting rate alpha at the post I will be this. So this is the reward which we are considering the expected reward for our model, and it gives us the occupational mobility measure based on reward structure for the model when reward structure with discounting is considered. Now we have done some simulation. Just I'm going to the table. Yeah. This is the expected reward at time t. We can easily see that when with the increasing of the time, the expected reward is decreasing. Okay, because this is actually the holding time. As the holding time increasing, the expected reward will decreasing. Now this is the terminal reward. It is actually given. So we can see that with the increase of a terminal reward, the expected reward will increasing. Now this is different holding time rate follows expected reward for different holding time rate lambda. We can see that with the increase of lambda, the expected reward will increasing. And this is expected reward for different yield rate. With the increasing of yield rate, we can see that expected reward will not change much. And this is the bonus rate. So with the increase of bonus rate also, we can see that expected reward will not change much for this simulation when we consider that all expected reward, bonus rate, yield, and holding time follows exponential distribution. Now case B, where we assume that holding time, bonus, and yield follows Weibull distribution. These are our results. This is time and the expected reward. This is the terminal reward and expected reward. This is the holding time lambda with the expected reward. And this is yield with expected reward. This is bonus. Now we come to an example. This is actually, we did a survey. We have collected occupational data for the full-time teachers of Midnapur College, and we get, this is our PIJ. This is our holding time matrix. This is our yield matrix. This is our bonus matrix. And we get that expected reward is this, which is quite satisfactory. Now, the next model, which is reward structure model without discounting. Here we our model is same, but something is different, because here also we take in categories of post. The calendar year is tau. Here our transition probability matrix is Pij. The holding time is Hij tau at time tau. Individual who are in post I and they have chosen the successor post J will earn reward with the yield rate this at the rate sigma. And here actually, when without discounting is the model which is actually applicable for the contractual teacher, as they are not getting the increment as the full-time teacher. So this model is actually for the for the contractual teacher or the yes. Hello.
Pardon, ma'am.
So
Ma'am, I'm so sorry to interrupt, ma'am. Can you wrap it up in 1 minute, next 1 minute? Because there are other presenters too.
yes, ma'am. I'm in the just in the. So this is our model. The reward structure model is this. For this model, this is our reward structure model, and here actually we cannot fit our data for real life data because of the lack of data, as we still do not get the service book or any pattern of payment for the contractual teachers. So this is all actually. We thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am, for enlightening us. This is kind of a new topic that we are covering many versatile areas about sustainable development, and this is I consider is a it's a kind of unique perspective that we are talking about this promotion and that reward must related statistics about the faculty members. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your precious talk. And yeah, now we are just moving to our next participant, and she will be introduced by Dr. Shumi.
Acha. Our next participant is Miss Mamtisha Kumari. She's a research scholar, Department of Geography, Magad University, Bodh Gaya. And her paper is The Necessity of Sustainable Agriculture for the Food Security of the Future, a case study of Bhojpur district. So may I please request Ms. Kumari to continue her lecture.
Yes, sir. Hello, sir. Am
Yeah,
I
can
audible?
you open your video, please, ma'am?
Sorry, ma'am. There is network problem here.
Okay, you can just directly go to the presentation, ma'am.
Okay, my topic is the necessity of sustainable agriculture for the food security of the future. Bhojpur district case study.
If you have any
Sustainable.
presentation slide, ma'am,
Yeah, ma'am.
any slides you have, PowerPoint presentation slides?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Okay,
स्लाइड लेकिन नेटवर्क प्रॉब्लम की वजह से नहीं हो पाएगा.
okay, no problem. You just carry on.
Sustainable agriculture consists of environment-friendly methods of farming that allow the production of crops or livestock without damage to human or natural systems. Elements of sustainable agriculture can include permaculture, agroforestry, mixed farming, multiple cropping, and crop rotation. Uh, Sustainable agriculture is important for the food security of the future. There are 8 reasons for it. Number one, nourishes and restores the soil. Sustainable agriculture places a lot of emphasis on soil nourishment, which ultimately results in healthier plants and animals. Using natural fertilizers and crop rotation while minimizing the number of animals on a farm. Sustainable agriculture ensures that soils are free from toxic compounds that may harm humans, animals, and pollinators. Number two, saves energy. Sustainable agriculture endeavors to minimize energy use at all levels of production by eliminating the use of fossil fuels and reducing energy use. Sustainable farming helps in reducing greenhouse gas emissions, thereby playing a significant role in combating climate change. Number three, conserves and protects water. Sustainable agricultural systems use several techniques to conserve water, such as drip irrigation and mulching. In addition, it focuses on planting perennial crops with deep roots that do not require a lot of water. Number four, values diversity. Sustainable agriculture is cooperative because it incorporates plant and animal production together while also providing a healthy environment for wildlife, pollinators, and people. Number five, provides crops with resilience. Sustainable agriculture plays a vital role in reducing greenhouse gas emissions as well as conserving energy and water. Number 6, works in harmony with nature. Sustainable agriculture works in harmony with nature. It places a lot of emphasis on natural productivity by relying on the regenerative aspects of the natural environment. Number 7, supports local communities. Sustainable agriculture is generally localized um and places a lot of emphasis on domestic food production. Number 8, stabilizes food supply. On the contrary, sustainable farming trends to be highly decentralized and therefore limits the chances of food insecurity occasioned by the financial troubles or any problem that a corporation may encounter. Now I concluded, as we know that sustainable agriculture is not only important for economy but it is necessary for environment also. In Bhojpur district, farmers use this type of farming for the improvement of the economical situation of the district. Okay, thank you. Hello. Hello, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am, and for your kind presentation. We knew something about your studies, about this. Do you have any question from the audience? You can just directly interact. Just unmute yourself and just ask. If you don't have any, so ma'am, thank you so much once again, and we
Okay,
are
ma'am.
moving
Thank
to
you.
the next speaker. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you, ma'am.
And the last presenter of this session, this technical session two, is Abhishek Sharda. Abhishek, Mr. Abhishek, are you here?
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Can you just switch on your video?
Ma'am, I'll be sharing the screen in order to save the bandwidth if it's okay with you.
Okay, okay, no problem with that. Just
Okay.
you can just start your presentation. So the next speaker, Mr. Abhishek Sharda, he will tell us about his study, and his topic is an analytical study of the practice of waste management in India with special reference to e-waste management.
Ma'am, is the
So,
screen visible?
one second. So this is
Yes, yes.
yeah, this is visible. You can just this is, I think, the e-waste. This topic is right now just newly covered in this conference, and thank you so much for covering it for us. And Abhishek Sharpe is an assistant professor at SGGS College. He's from Chandigarh, and yeah. Mr. Abhishek, yeah, you please go on with your presentation. We are eager to hear you.
Okay, ma'am. Uh, First of all, very good afternoon to the chair of the session and the fellow presenters. So, my topic for the day is the practice of waste management in India with special reference to the e-waste management. So, I'll start with a brief introduction. There are a few things in life which are certain that everyone has to counter that. One is death, second is the change, and the third one is the waste. As the consumers, we are consuming things, and when we'll be consuming things, we'll generate waste. So it's a obvious fact that we'll be accumulating waste over the time, and we need to manage this waste in a way that we don't cause any harm to the environment, and we can think of the sustainable future or the sustainable development. So, in a layman's language, I'll be talking about what is waste. Basically, anything which does not hold any value further and can be disposed of can is a waste. But what science says that everything which exists around us, whatever we call whatever thing we call a waste, it's not a waste. It can be recycled. It can be again put into the use. For example, we have a definition over here by Robinson, which says that organic or inorganic waste material produced out of a household or commercial activity that have lost the value in the eyes of the first owner, but it may be a great value to somebody else. So simply, science says that every waste material can be put to use if we treat it scientifically. In a country like India, where the population is so much that if we will not treat the waste in a scientific manner, it will create problems for us in the near future. We'll be creating problems for our future generations. So, in a crux, I can say that the practice of waste management, if it's not up to the mark, it can disturb whole living cycle. It can disturb the overall quality of life of the people. According to an estimate, India produces about 280 million tons of waste every year, which will go up to 4,000 million tons by 2030. So, if we'll not have adequate mechanism in place to treat this waste, it can create several problems for us in the future. And with the technological advancements and whatever technologies are upgradations are there, we have mobile phones, we have computers, we have so many things. The e-waste has also increased, and it requires strategic planning to like reuse it or to recycle this waste, because we are producing it in a large quantity. We are ranking fifth when it comes to e-waste production globally. We are after Japan and China, Germany. So the objective of the study is to highlight the practices of waste management in India, and to study the problem areas, what problems areas are there when it comes to the waste management. And I have also looked into the various policy initiatives by Government of India for waste management. And with in the last, I'll have some suggestions to improve the prevailing situation related to the waste management and the e-waste in the country. So majority of data I have used from the secondary sources only. I have used different books, newspapers, reports of Government of India and the sponsoring agencies, uh, which are in relation to the waste management and the programs related to the waste management. It gives us the overall picture of what kind of waste management practices India is having at the moment. So we can classify waste into basically, we have a lot many types of waste, but these can be put up under two categories. First is the biodegradable waste, and the second is the non-biodegradable waste, which we call wet waste and the dry waste. Everything what we get in the kitchen, all kind of cooked uncooked foods, dry leaves, green leaves, sanitary waste, these are this falls under the category of wet waste. And paper, metals, glasses, ashes, foils, cassettes, computers, all these falls under the dry waste. Even the e-waste falls under the dry waste category, which is non-biodegradable, which takes time to degrade itself, which takes time to replace. So, what kind of waste management we have in India? Let's come to this. So, in India, the waste management practice generally depends upon few of the factors which I've listed down here. First is the waste generation. It simply talks about uh, the origin of that waste, where that waste is being produced. It is in the household, it is in some factory or some uh, the location, you can say. It talks about the locale of the waste. Second is the primary storage, how it is stored, how it is converted into waste, what was the raw material, how it got converted into the waste. Then we have the primary collection. In India, mainly the waste in the urban areas is collected by the municipal corporation. They have few people who generally collect the waste from your households. And we have the local rack pickers, what we call raddiwalas. And then we come to the secondary collection and transportation. Once they pick up the waste from your houses, they take it to the disposable sites. Then comes the recycling activities, how the waste is recycled over there, how it is again put into use. Whatever waste we can be recycled, how it is recycled. And the last step is treatment and disposal. What kind of waste can be treated, and there's a difference between treatment and disposal. Disposal simply means that we are just getting the waste out of our houses and we are disposing it off to a site or a landfill anywhere. But treatment means when we are treating that waste based upon what kind of treatment it requires, what kind of treatment dry waste requires, what kind of treatment a wet waste requires. We need to have that understanding. Then only the process is complete. Then only we talk about, then only we can consider it the waste management. Otherwise, disposal of the waste is no option. Now let's come to the e-waste. Everything, your computers, your CDs, your TVs, iPods, refrigerators, which are of no use any longer, like they're not working, and then you'll be disposing of them, you'll be selling off them to the rack pickers or anyone else. So it comes under the
I'm sorry, Mr. Abhishek. So just wanted to
Mhm.
say you that are you going to change your slides, because from our end we are not seeing any change. Or
I'm changing my slides, ma'am.
okay, but it's not reflected here. Can you just change once so we can see the
Mm,
presentation?
I've been okay. I'll stop sharing, then I'll again share it. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, maybe that. Huh?
Hang on. Is it visible?
Yeah, it is visible. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's changing right now.
It's changing.
Okay,
So
please.
let's come to the e-waste. I was changing it previously also. I don't know why it was not there. So let's come to the e-waste. Whatever waste in forms of your computers, CDs, printers, scanners, or whatever appliances are of no use any longer, and you put it off and you dispose it off, it comes into the category of e-waste. So basically, in India, 70% of e-waste is your computers, and then we have telecommunication equipments, your mobile phones, electric equipments. 8% is the electric equipments. In India ranks fifth when it comes to the e-waste. It's after USA, China, Japan, and Germany. And in year 2016, we had the Ministry of Environment and Forest ruled out e-waste management rules, which says that the producer, or you can say the producer of that e-waste, has to collect the waste, 30 to 70% of the waste. Whosoever is producing that e-waste has to collect that waste. E-waste collection, transportation, processing, and recycling is mainly dominated by the informal sector. We have private players to look after this. And there are a lot many cases where leakages and the toxins into the environment, these kind of cases have came into the limelight. Only 20% of the e-waste is recycled annually in the world. So you can very well imagine the situation that at what stage of recycling we are at this point of time, keeping in uh, mind the population of the world, and only 20% e-waste is recycled. It's a like a big issue, you can say that. And there's also the infrastructure what we have for recycling is not up to the mark till now. We need to improve that. We need to learn it from the other countries who are produce like recycling 50 or say 60% of their e-waste. We need to adopt those technologies also. And it's a fact that every e-waste material contains something which is of use. It contains metals, it contains glasses, it contains uh, some sort of like gold or silver in any form, which can be recovered and can be brought back to the production cycle. So we just need to mend our ways, we need to change our ways, so that recycling can be done in a way that we can use maximum out of it, so that it can be put back into the use. So what are the major problems in India when it comes to the waste management? So the first problem is segregation of waste. Still, we are not, as individuals, we need to accept this. Many of us are not aware of what is a dry waste, what is a wet waste, and we just mix it everything. And it's a big problem, because we need to treat every waste. For every waste, it requires a different treatment, and if we'll mix everything, so we'll be making things difficult for us only. Secondly, the point. it comes out of this only, that we have lack of awareness. We are not aware of what kind of handling it requires, what kind of segregation it requires. And the research in this area is very limited. There are very few researchers which are there. However, the researchers are taking initiative nowadays, that they are picking this up as a topic of research, but research is very limited. We do not have much of research into how we can treat the waste, how we can like use it for our benefit, and how can we minimize like this thing of the waste. And the collection and transportation related issues, many a times we see this MC's vehicle full of waste. Some waste is dropping on the road, some waste is going here and there. So we have in the collection and transportation also, we have the flaws there also. And mostly 90% of India's waste is dumped in a manner which it should not be done. For example, 90% of the waste we dump on the sites where it keep on accumulating, and it is adding to the pollution level. Keeping in mind the global levels of population, it's a big warning sign that 90% of waste is we are dumping it into in the sites from where it is adding to the pollution. So let's come to some of the policy perspectives. However, we have many of the policy perspectives. I cannot include everything in the 10 minutes presentation, so I have included a few of it. First is Swachh Bharat mission, which was started in the year 2014. Now it's almost 6 or 7 years, which basically the idea was door-to-door collection and segregation of the waste. Then we have Swachh Sarvekshan. It's an annual survey where the cities are ranked based upon the kind of cleanliness or the hygiene they have there. Then we have Compost Now, Compost Up Now campaign. So whatever waste can be put into the category of, and whatever waste can be utilized for manure or fertilizers, they should be used in that way only. We should train people to, like, whatever household waste, kitchen waste we have, that can be converted into fertilizer or the manures. Promotion of waste to energy, it was a program of Ministry of Renewable Energy, uh, launched by so it promotes the how we can convert this waste into energy, and it has the central government's assistance to it. If we'll go to the central government with an idea where you will say that this idea can convert waste to the energy, so central government will fund your initiative. And this we have already read about in the previous slides, the plastic e-waste and the plastic management rules, where the producer of the waste has to collect the waste also. Producer of that electronic has to collect the waste also. Now I'll come to the suggestions. What suggestions can be incorporated in order to improve the overall scenario in the country when it comes to the waste management? Firstly, there should be a political will, and whatever institutional framework we have, we need to strengthen that. We need to make sure that whatever personas are engaged by the municipalities, they are aware of how they'll perform their duties, how they'll collect the waste, how they'll dispose it off, how they'll treat it off. So we need to strengthen the institutional framework firstly. Then we can involve the private players into it. However, it is a priority area, but we understand that private players can play a very active role. They can contribute to it. So we can include the private players in this also. Technological transfers can also be one of the suggestions that can be included, because in India we know that manually we are doing like 90% of the waste collection is done manually. So in order to like just reduce that, or in order to eliminate that, we can have technology transfer. We can learn from the countries which are using the technology for this waste collection and waste recycling. And we as citizens, as like normal citizens, we need to be aware of the policies and programs what are there for the waste collection or the waste treatment. We need to be a aware citizen. We need to look around us, in the periphery, that whatever policies government is having, we need to, because at the end of the day, if waste will not be decomposed in a way that it should have been, it's a problem for us only. We, the people, will suffer. It's our generation, future generation, who will suffer. So it depends upon us what we are giving to our future generations. No to plastic bag. Every state government and even the center government is promoting this idea that, please eliminate plastic bags and carry your handmade, house-made bags with you whenever you're going out in the market for any sort of like shopping. Separating the garbage, that we have already discussed about, that we need to make sure that we have this clear cut idea in our mind which waste will go where. Compost or organic waste. This also we have talked about, that whatever waste we can utilize to make fertilizers and the manures, that should be treated that way. No burning should be allowed, as it releases many of the gases in the environment which are harmful for our lungs, for our health, or normally also, like. And there should be training programs for these people who are collecting the garbages from your houses. They should be properly trained, so that even from first stage you will be the one who will be separating the uh, waste. In the second stage, when they are collecting it from their houses, they can separate it in the second stage, so that no mixing of garbage is there. So they should be properly trained, they should be properly, and there should be financial penalties and for the non-compliance or any sort of violation. So now I'll come to the conclusion part. uh, India is a big country, we know that things will take time. We are adopting things from the we are adopting the best of the technologies, whatever can fit our environment, but it will take time. But as citizen, we need to realize this, it's our loss if we are not contributing to this. If we are taking it for, like, if we are taking it casually, it's ultimately our loss. We'll be living in an environment where we'll be breathing things which we should not. We'll be surrounded by things which should not be in our surroundings. So we have to be a responsible citizen, and we need to understand this, that there's a difference between disposal and management. Simply getting the waste out of your house is not your duty. You should, as a citizen, you should be aware of how you can contribute to that. And waste management is ultimately when that waste is treated in a way that, what kind of treatment it requires. When you know that, then only your responsibility as a citizen is fully, you can say, you have justified your role. So keeping in mind the global pollution levels, it's high time for each and every citizen to just have this thing in their mind, that they have to contribute to this thing. It's not only the government's responsibility, it's our responsibility. We have to decide what kind of future we want to live in. So with this, I'll conclude. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Abhishek. And yeah, Dr.
Yeah, I have a question.
Shah.
First of all, thank you for your fascinating presentation.
Thank
And
you
my
so much.
question actually is kind of an observation. It's related to, you have talked about lack of awareness and also separation of garbage.
Yes.
So maybe as far as separation of garbage is concerned, we might cite the example of Germany. I mean, I think they have gone crazy as far as separation of garbage is concerned, but I think they've done pretty good job, and they're still doing it pretty well. Like they have so many different bins for different kinds of waste, biodegradable plastic, then carton box, then separate bin for green glasses, green bottles, separate bin for white bottles and brown bottles also.
Yes.
So I think, and also the most important point is they have a separate bin for e-waste as well. So it's related to awareness, because it's our responsibility, the responsibility of the citizens, to reach out to these spaces, to reach out to these bins and dispose our garbage. But normally, what happens to us, most of the Indians, we tend to keep our home clean, but our surroundings very dirty. We think in a way that whatever garbage we have, it could be a packet of Lays, it could be anything, a bottle, whatever it is. We prefer to think that let our home be clean and clear, but outside it doesn't concern us. Take for example any, especially there are any housing complex, and possibly there is a pond next to it. So in most of the places it's completely infested with all these garbages. So I don't know, and in that context your paper is very very pertinent and very thought provoking. So first of all, I congratulate you, and if you want to add to it, please go ahead.
Thank you so much for your question. That's the exactly the point what I wanted to make, that we cannot put everything on government. Government will have its policies, government will have its plans, government will have its training programs, but it's the us, the citizens, we should be in a position that we should be aware of the fact that it's the kind of environment we are creating for our future generations. We don't want our like future generation to breathe in a sort in an environment which is full of pollution, which is full of garbage. So whatever we can do for it, we should do. And the same thing what you were mentioning, that every kind of waste requires a different kind of treatment. We need to realize that if we'll mix everything, so it will become a tedious job for the ones who are involved at that stage where they are treating the garbage. So it's our duty that we separate things. It's not only about keeping our homes clean, cause you will be breathing the air which is coming from your periphery. You're not generating your own environment inside your home. It's a common environment for everyone. And we जितना जल्दी हमको ये realization होगा कि it's for everyone, उतना ही better we can have this. I hope I made
Yeah, I
some
want to
sense.
add one thing with that I realized from that topic that this topic is unique, and thank you for covering it once again. So the thing, one thing I realized that we should spread this knowledge from our RD curriculum, so that in school stage also we should spread the awareness.
Yes.
So that if it is a part of curriculum, we can know that how an e-waste is so much different from the other domestic wastes, and something from the plastic. So it has many heavy metals with it, and if it goes to the sewage, is a kind of disaster. So we don't realize that how grave the situation is, and this lack of awareness, I think this is responsible for, so that we are having a lots of campaigns that government or private organization, but we see, we know, we talk about it, but we don't follow. So we have
Yes.
to follow, we have to know things, we have to follow, and we have to influence others, so
Yes.
that
Exactly.
they do the same. So they are talking about it, and they are just throwing the US in a normal garbage. So I think we should take that note from this good presentation, that we uh, we maybe get interested about that, how we can sort out our domestic garbages and e-waste, and why these are so important to know about this e-waste management. Thank you so much, Mr. Abhishek Sharta. So as we
Thank
have
you so much,
already
ma'am.
we have here reached the time and end of the session. So from any participant, do you have any question?
Yeah, anyone, if
Uh,
you have any question.
if not that, it's okay. Thank you so much to all the participants. We are just ending our technical session 2, and we'll meet with you all to our next session tomorrow, which starts from 10 a.m. in the morning, 22nd of December. So today we are ending this session. So thank you so much, and see you soon. We are ending the program.
Thank you.